Hi, I am Cliff Harris, the designer and coder of Democracy 4. This is the latest developer blog video about the game. We missed one because I did a video about all of the changes that have happened between Democracy 3 and Democracy 4, so I kind of did that instead. So it's been a little while and quite a lot of stuff has changed on the game, and I'm just going to run through what's changed since I last did one of these videos. One of the most obvious things is we have a new country in since we did that. I think I was talking about it, but I don't think it was actually in. That is Japan. Japan is actually quite a hard country. Some people are saying it's too hard because of the debt. There was a lot of discussion of this. Japan has an incredibly high level of debt, and yet they seem to somehow get away with it, and I don't really know how that works. Anyway, it is playable. You can solve it. It is quite hard, but Japan is a new country and it is in the game and worth mentioning. Something that I think is fairly recent is this, where you can see the list of everything that has been changed that is specific to that mission. And what I did is I went through and I put in quite a lot of them for Japan. So if you look at Spain, there's some adjustments there for various things to do with them being in the EU, the fact that they have the dispute over the Basque region and Mediterranean diet and stuff like that. If you look at Japan, they got loads actually. A lot of these things are basically Shinto, which is the kind of dominant religion. I know there's also Buddhism, but it doesn't seem to impact many of the things that the game depends on, but Shinto does, mostly because it's just completely different to the religions that we mostly model in the game. So we're mostly modeling a kind of some flavour of Christianity, and there's a lot of things that Christianity are upset by that Shinto isn't. So basically there's loads of adjustments if you play Japan that removes a lot of things that upset the religious people. So it is different, catering to that group of voters who are religious, if you care about that when you play Japan. And we'll probably put in a lot more of these things, little adjustments and little changes. One of the things that is new to the game, and I don't think I've coded a thing, maybe I have actually. If we go back to USA and look at the adjustments, oh yeah, I have done it. So it says here, political capital cost adjusted for firearm laws. So basically, if you wanted to ban handguns in most of the countries that we model in the game, some people would be upset, but they wouldn't go absolutely thermonuclear about it. In the US, if you could probably ban food and have less political fallout than banning handguns. And the same is true of stem cell research. That's not controversial anywhere, I don't think, except the United States. So we have a new system in the game that lets me adjust the political capital cost. In other words, how difficult is it to get policy changes like this through in that country? Which I think is quite handy, because there are some issues that become very tribal in terms of local politics. Like the UK used to have this with fox hunting. That is a big deal in any other country. Who would care? But in the UK, it became a totemic issue, in that it was kind of a cultural thing. And the US has that with guns, and other countries must have it with other things. The Japanese seem to be very keen on whaling for some reason. I mean, that's not something that is in there at the moment. But anyway, we have the ability to change that, and also that means if you add new countries and you mod stuff, you'll be able to include that, which is kind of cool. The thing that took weeks, it was just that quite a few people said I play the game at 4K resolution and the text is too small. And this is only going in one direction. People are getting higher and higher resolution monitors, and I want this game to last. I want people to be able to buy this game in 5 years time and it feel new. So in order to do that and to support that is a bit of a challenge. Let me just check something. Yep. So you have to kind of think ahead. So basically the dots per inch on laptop resolutions especially, but kind of all monitors, is going up. So it's not that the monitors are getting bigger and bigger. I have a stupidly big monitor instead of having two. But even then, it's only like 5120 res, whereas you now get 4K screens that are quite small. So basically, to fix this issue, that for some people the UI was not looking right, this text would be too small, this text would be tiny, we implemented something called UI scaling. So if you go into options, by default it's 100%. So that means, like, if in the game I've said that this icon needs to be like whatever it is, 64 pixels in size, this close button, then it's always 64 pixels in size. So if you have like a larger screen res, it will seem that this button just gets smaller and smaller, as long as your monitor doesn't change size, obviously. So this lets you change this, so I can make everything a bit chunkier. So if I go to like 120, I'm going to go to 133%, right, and then I'll need to restart. Okay, so hopefully we come back. Don't know what's going to happen. So everything's bigger and chunkier, and it's not 100% right. Okay, it doesn't quite look right. And hopefully when you look at this looks fine, and you go, well, that looks alright. I can't tell what you've changed. This text is in the wrong place. A little minor problem there. But if you look at where these buttons are, they take up most of this. So if I go back in there and I change it down to like, let's change it to 80%. I don't want to go too low. Let's change it to 80%. I have no idea if this is going to work. Hopefully it'll work. Put a lot of effort in. Look, tiny text, but everything is still in the same place. Everything is still proportionate, and everything should work perfectly. Anyway, it's a new thing that's in there, and don't touch this unless you think something's wrong, because what you really want is you want it as the almighty creator, me, determined that it should be, which is 100% and everything laid out like this. But if you've got like a new really high dots per inch like monitor or whatever, then you might want to play about with that. That was really hard. Okay, now I've kind of like glossed over it a bit there, okay, by sort of saying, yeah, you do this slider, blah blah, and everything's lovely. I basically had to go through absolutely everything in the game, the position of absolutely well, not everything, because some of it was already scaled. I had to go through everything, almost everything in the game, and tell it to take into account that scaling factor. And that took, I mean, that was like literally like 2 weeks of typing. But it all works. I mean, you know, I think it was worth it. And I think it gives you better control. It also depends on your eyesight as well. I don't have particularly brilliant eyesight, so I actually like quite a chunky UI. So if you look at people's screenshots, and sometimes it seems like this bar up here is really long, or if they click on like a list of things, what's a good example? Like this list, and this seems to have like 25 items in, and you've only got like this number or whatever. It could be that they have a higher screen res and they've adjusted that or whatever. Theoretically, we now adjust to every combination of everything, and it's always fine. This stuff here has always been automatically resizing to everything. That was a whole world of pain as well. Anyway, hopefully it looks a lot better if you've got one of those PCs. So that took a lot of time. I'm just going to go briefly through some of the other stuff that we're working on and that I've done. Something that I've just done but not checked in was preventing contradictory coalition offers. Now, I'm not currently playing a game with a coalition, but I could go to one actually. I think I do have a coalition saved. If I go here, I've got a save game that tests everything. Here we go, coalition. So this is Australia with a coalition government, and cynical voters. Who would believe such a thing? So we're in a coalition right now, and I will occasionally get an offer. So if I just go I'll just go to the next turn, and hopefully I'll get one. I don't know. Blah blah blah. Lots of other stuff going on actually. I'm going to ban animal testing because that's a bad thing, and just scoot through. Yeah, here we go. So here's an offer from my coalition partners, right? I don't have much political capital, and they're offering me 8. In other words, they will help me get policies through and enacted if I introduce agriculture subsidies, which the country currently doesn't have. I might want to go along with them, I might not care. If I don't care, I'll probably do it anyway in order to get the political capital. Now there used to be a bug with this, which I've just fixed in the upcoming release, which is there was nothing stopping them in like another 2 or 3 turns going, yeah, here's an offer from your coalition partners, we'd like you to scrap agriculture subsidies, which makes them seem schizophrenic and unrealistic. And it also means that if you go along with it, your trustworthiness goes down and people become cynical. Obviously it's not intended. So now coalition parties memorize every demand they've met, and they will only make one offer regarding a policy ever. So we'll never hear from them again after this. We'll never hear a contradictory view, and we won't hear them suggest this again, because if we turn it down, there's no point in them suggesting it again. We've already made our feelings clear. So that's new going in. Another thing that's going in, which it would be a little bit convoluted and I just have to sit here and keep playing it for ages until it happened, so I won't do it, is that if you have a problem here with your perception, so here are your perceptions, that's bad, but it's not that bad. If it gets lower, it would be considered a real problem. You get warnings now if you're really not a strong leader. Actually, if I really cut the military, that makes me look cynically like I'm not a strong leader. Let me just hire someone at random, go the next turn, just in case it triggers, because it's better if it triggers. A fuel shortage, you don't see that often. I don't have one yet. Has it got worse? Has it got worse? No, it's kind of recovering actually. Oh, that's a bit annoying. It's a bit annoying. Let me just see if I can accidentally make it worse. No, I fixed it. Anyway, you will get a warning up here occasionally saying that the voter perceptions of you are bad. The voter perceptions of you as an individual leader do play into people's voting decisions, so they're actually really important. So you need to keep track of them. Previously, you'd only know what they were if you either went in here to a focus group and you kind of saw what people thought here on perceptions. You could look at each individual, but they're always going to be the same because everyone has this collective view of, I think they do anyway. That's 1.49%. Or maybe not, maybe not. Oh my god, how exciting. Anyway, you'd have to look here or you'd have to go there in order to actually check the perceptions, whereas now you'll be warned about it if they're really bad, and I think that's an improvement. So that's what I've been doing. Other things that we're doing, we're getting some more events coming to the game, which I'll talk about when they're done, because then it's cool and I can show you the artwork when that goes in. And we're getting extra languages. So I'm planning on getting the game translated into Chinese and Korean. Now you might not care, you probably don't care, because if you're watching this video it's gibberish unless you speak English, obviously. I don't think AI is that good yet, so it probably doesn't matter, but sometimes stuff gets added to the game or changed behind the scenes and you think like the developer's not still developing the game or whatever, because it's something that you don't see because it doesn't affect you, like the render scaling thing. If you've got a normal size monitor, that didn't help you at all until you get one. And adding new languages is obviously something that's really important to those players, but it's not important to everyone. But I think it's still worth pointing out that I'm doing it, so you know that like the game is still in development, because we're in early access, obviously. And we still describe it as being in alpha, but I mean it's not. This is clearly beta, and sort of on the, you know, heading towards the end of beta, I guess. We don't have a fixed date for coming out of early access, because there's a lot of little balance things that I want to get done first before we do that. And you know, who knows what will happen when we come out of early access. We're not going to suddenly just forget about the game and not update it, because politics keeps changing and there's always like really interesting stuff going on in the world. Like new ideas for events and dilemmas and situations and stuff like that. and I want to improve the mod support as well. Anyway, that is what has been going on in the last few weeks. It's a lot more than it sounds because render scaling was a nightmare. But if you're one of these people that has a really high-end laptop with a small screen but really high dots per inch, it will change your life because the game will be vastly more playable than it used to be. So there you go, good stuff. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again probably in about 3 weeks. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe, blah blah. But I don't care about that much. What I care about is people giving us good reviews on Steam. Review the game if you like it. It's much appreciated. Thanks for watching.